Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona. He's Mike Beer, and we're here talking about some undercard stakes action at Pimlico for Saturday, Preakness Day. Race 9 is the Jim McKay Turf Sprint, which kicks off that late pick 5 sequence, and you definitely want to take a deep look at these undercard stakes at Pimlico and do so with daily racing form PPs. You can check out all of our handicapping plans at shop.drf.com. Classic, Formulator, Timeform US, all access PPs, plans for any kind of past performance product that you want to check out. Also, betting strategies available for this Saturday card at Pimlico. I'll be writing those picks and analysis as well as the bets that I plan to make for all of the races on Preakness Saturday. Well, Mike, we've got a field of 9 entered for this Jim McKay Turf Sprint. 5 furlongs on the grass. Speed is the name of the game.
Yeah, speed wins these races, so it's obviously a good asset to have in a race like this. There's a ton of pace in this race, though. I mean, most of the horses in this field, or at least several of them, really want to be forward. I think this pace is getting contested.
Yeah, the number 6, Copala, is the horse that is shown on the front end, but it's not going to be easy for him to make the lead, even though he does possess a lot of gate speed, because the number 1, Boats of Rockin', wants to go forward. Even the horse towards the outside, the number 9, For Harp, he's really only competitive when he gets to the front end. So as you take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this Jim McKay Turf Sprint, I think that fast pace flag that's showing up is going to come to fruition on the track.
I agree. I think these horses are going to go fast early in this race. You mentioned probably the 3 main protagonists in that regard, but even the number 3, Honeyquist, is all speed. He's only run on turf once, but that horse has tons of speed. The dirt horse who's switching over for the first time, the number 7, that horse probably has speed in this race too.
Let's go through this field from the rail out, beginning with the number 1, Boats of Rockin', who could be one of those pace players. He is coming back off a layoff in this race, Mike, and I think you have to be a little bit concerned that he might need the race coming off the break, because he came back off a similar layoff in this same race last season, got to the front end, led the field into the stretch, and got really tired in the late stages. That was a much softer turf course than I think we're expecting on Saturday at Pimlico, even though it looks a little rainy right now. We're going to dry out by the time this race is run on Saturday. He's just got to prove that he can get to the front end from this rail post and not go too fast so he's able to hold on late.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that trip's really going to be possible for him. And he's a really cool horse. He's rock solid. He's won 14 times in his career on the grass. He's just a really good horse. This is not an easy spot for him. He's going to have to be 100% fit off the layoff.
The number 2, No Nay Hudson, could have a really good trip coming to him in this race because he showed a lot of speed early in his career, but they sort of made the intentional decision to rate him off the pace in the middle of 2023, and he's really responded well to those tactics. He also is a horse that is going to be just fine going the 5 furlong distance. He's tried it only a couple of times in his career. He ran really well in the Green Flash going this 5 furlong distance at Del Mar last summer against a good field. We'll take a look at his last race at Keeneland, where he got the job done and made this big move off the far turn to take the race over. It gets a little closer at the end, but I mean, he was a dominant winner of this race.
Really good in this race too. Yeah, good little prep race for him too. A little step back there. Now they move him back into a stakes race, and in a stakes race where he just fits really well. I like everything about this horse, basically, David. He's a good horse. He fits really well in a race like this one. I will say, as someone who's followed him pretty closely the last couple of years, I like to bet him like when he's a good price, and when he's a shorter price, I'm always happy to take shots against it because he doesn't win often enough for me.
He's a little obvious in this race, so he might take some money, but he does seem like a legitimate contender. The number 3 is Honeyquist. He's a horse that is shipping in from Charlestown for this race. Well, that's where he's been competing most of his career as a West Virginia bred on the dirt. He did try the turf, though, once last summer at Ellis Park and sprung an upset, winning at 14-1, leading from gate to wire. Mike, this horse has a ton of early speed and could mess up the plans of some others that want to go forward.
Exactly. I mean, if they're going to run him in this race, you know what you're going to get from him. He's going to come out of there running. He's going to be part of this pace early, and then we'll just see if he's good enough to, run his A race against stakes horses. He's probably going to have to run the race of his life to win here, particularly with the other speeds in the race, but this horse is pretty good.
The number 4, Whitty, is going to have to hope that all of that speed that was depicted on the pace projector does develop, because he needs this race to come apart if he's going to be successful. And you would think that a horse like this, who comes from so far back, would struggle at the 5 furlong distance, but you go through his races, he's tried this distance a few times and has actually put in some good late runs to get there. He seems to always finish in the exacta when he runs his race. But he's going to need them to really go quickly up front.
Yeah, he's the closer in the race, sort of the obvious closer, too. These horses, they're supposed to go fast in front of him, and Whitty will be trying to make a late run into this. It's what he did in this race last year. We already talked about it. It was a softer turf course last year, but this horse came running. He got second in that race. He'll be trying to run again late here.
One of the tougher calls in the race is the number 5, Determined Kingdom, because you know based on his form from last year, especially the second half of last season, that he is good enough to beat a field like this, particularly based on the 99 Buyer here in 2 back at Keeneland when he beat No Nay Hudson, who's one of the top contenders in this race. But Mike, they put him up for auction late last year. He sold for $190,000, was transferred to New Connections, debuted for Mike Trombetta last time in the King Leatherbury, and was just way off form. I mean, he tried to chase the pace a little bit, went backwards in the stretch. Is this just not the same horse for the new Barnes?
It's a real question in this race, especially if he takes money in here, which he certainly could. I guess there's 2 ways to look at that most recent start there. Yeah, he was pretty bad in there. Did he just need a race off the layoff, David? It did look like a horse. They just sat on the outside with him the entire way, and he got really tired through the stretch of that race. I wonder if he just really needed it, because it's pretty clear, based on what he was doing late last year, that he could easily beat these horses, and he has a good trip coming to him. He's got speed, but he does not need the lead.
The number 6, Copala, is really one of those 5 furlong specialists, and a step beyond 5 furlongs is always a bit of a struggle for him. But he has turned into a horse that really does his best racing when he's up contesting the pace every step of the way. So the break is going to be critical for this horse, especially given the fact that he's drawn outside of some other speeds. So you don't want him to get hung wide around that turn. But this is the right distance, Mike, and he's run plenty of races to make him a contender in this spot.
Right, and he's stepping back in class for this too. His 2 most recent starts against way tougher turf sprinters, and he's just not up to that kind of competition. He fits way better in races like this. You mentioned that he's sort of a specialist here. The last 5 times they've run 5 furlongs with this horse, he won all those races.
The number 7, Duncan Idaho, is another one of these horses that's coming in from Charlestown. He has only competed on dirt for his entire career, unlike his West Virginia-bred counterpart, Honeyquist. This horse has actually had Honeyquist's number in the recent races going on the dirt. But, Mike, I don't see a ton of turf pedigree with this horse, so he's going to have a lot to prove in this spot.
Yeah, he's not my kind of horse, switching surfaces in a race like this one. It's not an easy spot, and it's not like he's bred to move up on the surface.
The number 8, Mattingly, is coming off a pretty nice performance at Gulfstream Park. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race, and he was beating weaker competition than this. But it's always meaningful when you win one of those 5 furlong turf sprints by open lengths like he does. He was just really dominant against that field, and this is a horse that was continually improving throughout his 3-year-old season last year. These types always have upside going from 3 to 4, especially the grass horses. So I'm not going to be surprised when he's able to take another step forward off that 91 Buyer last time.
I look at him the same way. He's just one of the few horses in this race, too, who feels like he does have that upside. He could really move forward. Everybody else is kind of a made horse already. Mattingly is not, and he did run well last time.
The number 9, 4 Harp, won the local prep for this race, the Leatherbury last time. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race. He's going to hold off Whitty, who we already talked about. That horse is closing up the rail at the end, but 4 Harp led every step of the way, Mike. And this horse has run pretty well on the turf a number of times, but he is one of those horses that just needs the lead to be most successful.
Yeah, he's a speed horse, but he's drawn outside with tons of speed to his inside, too. So it doesn't feel like he's going to be able to clear this field and get to the rail. There might be a tough trip coming for him. He's a pretty nice horse, though.
Mike, where'd you go in this turf sprint?
This race is kind of wide open. I decided to be lenient with Determined Kingdom for that poor race off the layoff last time. I think he needed it. I think if he shows up with this good race here, he can beat these horses.
I went a little obvious with the number 2, No Nay Hudson. He's not going to be a great price in this race. I just think this horse has a really good trip coming to him, and he appears to class up against this field. So the number 2, No Nay Hudson for me, and the number 5, Determined Kingdom for Mike in race 9 on Preakness Saturday, the Jim McKay Turf Sprint. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.